Okay, so this is my lucid chart for vulnerable populations. Um, so what I have here at the top um, are the 6 things that are experienced between homelessness, poverty, infectious disease, mental illness, pregnant teens, and addiction. So the first one is that they all experience an extra amount of stress in their lives. So for homelessness, increased stress from not having a place to stay. For poverty, it's not having money to pay for food or to make rent. Can cause a lot of stress in their life. For infectious disease, they can have difficulty going through the disease process. That'll cause a lot of stress. Mental illness, they'll have stress because they don't have the support that they need as far as treatment and help from other people. For pregnant teens, they have social isolation and lack of support. That can stress them out. For addiction, they're not having resources needed. So that can cause an extra amount of stress in trying to cope. So they do not have the proper amount of nutrition in their diet. Being homeless, that's obvious. They don't have the proper amount of food. In poverty, they can't afford good, nutritious food that may be more expensive. For infectious disease, they may not be able to eat certain types of foods. For mental illness, they may not have the mental capacity to know what type of foods they need to eat. Pregnant teens, they can lack education. And for addiction, they can lack funds and support for proper food consumption. So the next one is they're not as healthy and don't have as good access to healthcare. Homeless people can't afford it. Poverty people can't afford good healthcare. For infectious disease, the healthcare can cost too much. For mental illness, they don't receive the proper healthcare. For pregnant teens, they are dependent upon their parents' healthcare system, and that may not be very good, and they're helpless if that is not a good system for them. And for addiction, they don't get the proper treatment for being addicted and getting off of a drug that they're using. So they also do not have proper support system to help them through the difficulty. They are looked down upon, and they don't have support in our society for the most part. For poverty people, it's difficult to get out of poverty, so they just lack some of the resources that they might need to get through it all. Health problems need extra support from healthcare. Mental illness people, they need close relationships, and they may have not developed because of their mental illness. For pregnant teens, are usually outcasts at school and sometimes even at home, so they may not get the support they need. And for addiction, they've burned bridges with healthy relationships that they had before, and don't get support that they need from the proper people. They'll probably get support from people that are addicts, but they're not going to help them. So the next one is they have less access to education. Homeless people did not get educated or can't afford it. Impoverished people can't afford education most of the time. Disease could prevent somebody from having an education or going and furthering their education. And mental illness can prevent them from having an education or a proper education with our current system. Pregnancy teens may have to drop out of school, and so that would prevent them from having a good education. And then if you're addicted to something, it's really hard to stay in school and to continue your education. So all of these groups also have prejudices that give them more constraints. So homeless people are just looked down in society, so it's harder for them to get out of their homeless situation. Same with impoverished people. They're not really looked up upon. And because they're impoverished, there might be more stigmatization to not give them good jobs or to not give them access to a higher level of education. Look down negatively upon with infectious disease. If you have one, you're not going to really be the most popular person, and if you have prejudice against you, you're just not going to have as many opportunities. For mental illness, that's pretty self-explanatory. They lack compassion and understanding of what they're going through most of the time. People don't want to deal with mentally sick people. I see this in the ER all the time. People will stay in our ER for 2 or 3 days because they don't have placement and the help that they need. Pregnant teens, it's not okay to be pregnant in our society, so there's going to be prejudice against them basically um, on that alone, from their peers and from family and friends. For addiction, think they will relapse, will have shame upon them from the people that they care about. And so that's a prejudice in and of itself. So that's it. These are my references up here, and I hope you enjoyed it.